reinvented the Ghee jacket. It's freaking ridiculous.
The Rift Ghee is the first Ghee. Okay, you wear a normal Ghee, that's cool. And then you take an Origin Ghee, you take an Axiom and you put that on, you go, oh, okay. You just really truly stepped it up. The Rift is not just a step up, it's just like a complete new level.
Dude, it's like, I was explaining it like this. If you, well, I can show you. Let's do this. You want a little history lesson?
Yep.
Okay, paper out.
This is step one.
Step one of the Rift, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
Right now I am loading up the creel for our next batch of white, which will probably end up being mostly Rift material. Each side, so this side carries 72 cones of yarn. That side also carries 72 for a total of 144. Usually we'll have a full creel. This is called a creel. So we'll have a full creel and basically we'll load it up with about 6 to 7 pound cones. And so what I end up doing with that afterwards is once they're all tied on, I'll run them all the way down through the actual reed down there, and I'll do 25 sections to get a total of 3,600 yarns. This will probably actually be turning into rifts, I'd guess around Thursday next week or so.
Traditional kimonos as they were in Japan. So in Japan, they wove fabric and it was all by hand, and they only wove it a certain width, and so they made the garments out of that width of fabric they could weave, which was like this. So if you look at early judo gis, you see how they have a skirt on the back tail. Well, that's because the fabric wasn't wide enough to make a full garment. And if you ever seen, like, they have the big long sleeves, right? Well, why is that? Because they needed to use every bit of fabric. Their fabric came off the loom, right? So you can see this is a jacket, right? This is a jacket. Here's the two sleeves, sleeve, sleeve, body. Now you see the sleeve, sleeve, body, right? So what happened for Jiu-Jitsu? Somebody in Brazil said, well, I wanna make a better fitting, a better cut gi.
So right now I am cutting some of the 2X Rift jackets on our newer laser cutter that we got. This will actually singe the edges of each piece that is cut. So what it will do is now it will keep the edges a lot cleaner where it's melted it just a tiny bit. On the Electra, what would happen is it's basically a jigsaw blade. So as it's cutting across the lines, it will leave frayed edges. So what was happening was that was giving the girls upstairs in stitching a lot more of a hard time when they were trying to actually put the jackets together, where, you know, if you're trying to stitch it and it's falling apart in your hands, it's not great for production.
So Jiu-Jitsu gis right now, like the gis we make, there's only really 2 lines of stitching, okay? It looks like this, all right? And all this here gets stitched to this right here.
Well, I'm just learning how to do them, so this is all new to me. I got to practice 2 nights, 1 jacket each, and here I am.
Full production.
Full production. That's because I'm good. My folder was messed up. It moved, it got loose, and it twisted sideways.
Yeah.
So I was having trouble sucking too much of the top material in. But now that it's fixed, it's running good.
What does it mean? What is it? It's just a new logo?
I think it's, I don't know, I was looking at it as like this is Origin and this is kind of like the rift in like the industry. You know, it's kind of like something so completely different, it's just, you know, the rift. So that's how I was looking at it.
So it's still a flat piece of fabric. Even though it wraps around the body better, it's still a flat piece of fabric. So if this is the human body, right, my fist is a human body, and I wrap this around the body, I mean, am I ever gonna get it perfectly flat? I'm not going to, right? Okay. So what we said is, well, how could we get it around our fist? Well, what if we cut strips and we started to wrap those strips, kind of like, paper mache almost. We started to wrap that strip around our hand, right, like this. And then our finger, we wrap. We could form this whole thing around our body. We developed this thing called the spiral wrap. So the fabric actually symmetrically from your back spine, it spirals around your body. So if you look at the side of this thing, right, you see how everything is spiraling around? And then if you look at the other side, it's doing the same thing. Everything is spiraling down and around. And there's movement, right? But it's wrapped around my body in a spiraling motion. This took us a year to develop. Looks simple, it's not simple. How do you show that in a video? How do you explain that? You're actually shedding like chains. It's like breaking chains, man. We're just changing the game, man. Changing the game. So we have to show that, how we're changing the game. We have to educate people.